Good evening from everywhere and every part of the world that you are joining tonight. We are continuing our series on investing. And so today we'll be looking at the topic investing for beginners, because I think that the most question Good evening from everywhere. The most question every part of the world that I have been getting in recent times have been questions around investing. And this is very good news because people have become aware. In fact, if I say like in the past 10, 20 years, there hasn't been the kind of awakening to the power of investment and to the world of investment as we have at this time in 2025. So it's like a lot of young people are waking up. And what I personally observed may have happened was that over the past 2 decades, there have been lots of get-rich-quick schemes. There have been lots of fraudulent money scams in the system, and so many people got their fingers burnt. And each of these money systems, which they called investment, ended up becoming scam. So people remember scams and Ponzi schemes like MMM, there were so many you could mention. So lots of people put their money in all those schemes that were called investment. And then unfortunately, lost so much money in them. And then I remember also when the craze of cryptocurrency came into this country, for instance, there was just it was like the gold rush. Everybody was getting into it and people lost money, including myself. I got caught up in the frenzy against my own principles. And I lost a lot of money at that beginning of the crypto thing. So because of it, there seems to have been a kind of social reaction to investment. So when you talk about investment, there is this negative, reluctant reaction, when people talk about investing. But I think that in the past 1 year, I have noticed a lot of interest in investing. Now, I've noticed a lot of interest in invest. People are beginning to pick up interest in investing again. And I think it's a very good thing because in the Nigerian stock market, for instance, we do not have up to 0.5% of the population participating in the greatest wealth building platform in the country, and in fact, in any country. So people are just waking up to these opportunities. Now, and I find that people are asking very basic questions about investments. And so what we're going to do today is break it down for beginners. And then even if you're an advanced investor or you are intermediate, you are still going to gain a lot. You're going to get some reminders and then you're going to gain a lot. So what I'm going to do today, 2 or 3 things. So the first is I'm going to talk about why investing matters. So that's going to be the first thing, why investing matters. Then I'm going to share with you 4 common mistakes that beginner investors make. 4 common mistakes that beginner investors make and how you can avoid them. And then after that, I will talk about simple strategies for beginners, just getting started. Let's say getting started with investing. Then the 4th part of our agenda is to take your questions. So feel free as I'm talking to type your questions in the comment section. Type it as I'm talking. Then at the end, I'm going to take all your questions for beginner investor. Now, why does investing matter? Why invest? Why should we even be having this conversation? Because I tell you sincerely, I'm concerned. I'm concerned and almost frightened that most people in their 30s, in their 40s, and even in their 50s, and some in their 60s, do not have a single investment. No single investment. Now, if we are talking about house, owning your own house as an investment, yeah, which we can consider, there are many people in their 40s, who in their 50s, in their 60s, who don't have their own home. They don't have a house that they call their own over their head, a roof over their head. Is that what they call it? You know, and you're already in your 40s, you're already in your 50s, you don't even have a place because the basic foundation of wealth is to have a house of your own. Because if you're in your 50s or 60s or even 40s and you don't have a house, you're still renting. The conversation is going to be very different. And of course, you can still rent, but you have a house you call your own. You can still rent, but you have a house you call your own. And so, but you find people in their 50s, they don't even have a house. They do not have any investment in the stock market. They do not have any mutual fund. They do not have any ETF. They do not have any of those things. In today's world, it's actually very scary. It's actually very scary that you are in your 40s and you do not have a sound investment portfolio. It's very scary. And after this night, you need to start. Because what happens is that many of us in our 30s, we get a good job and then we become very comfortable. We become very comfortable because the salary is rolling, and then the salary is always enough to give us the lifestyle to meet our needs and meet our obligations. So we relax. But that is a grave mistake because write this down. Nobody ever became wealthy through work. Nobody. The wealthy people you hear about and anybody who really becomes wealthy, the ordinary people you see in your neighborhood everywhere who are wealthy, they didn't become wealthy through work. They became wealthy through investment. So investment is the secret. Investing is the secret of the rich. The rich people are investing every single day. Every time you hear about Dangote in the newspaper, it's always around investing. It's always around investing. You would think this guy that already has salt under his command, he has sugar, and then the next thing you're hearing is he's gone into refining of oil. So he has a very big refinery now, and you would think he would rest. No, he's expanding his cement factory in Ethiopia because that's all the wealthy people do. They invest, they don't work. They do not work. And of course, when I say work, of course, he goes around, he has meetings, he has an office and things like that. But it's not those activities, it's not the work activities making him wealthy. It's investing. So the path to wealth is investment, it's investing. Look, even if you have the best paying job in the country right now, like I did, and you're not investing, you are sitting on a time bomb. So type in the comment section, investing is the true path to wealth, not working, not working. Get a good job, keep your job, but that's not what's going to make you wealthy. It is investing while you still do the work. Investing is the path to true wealth. Now, why else? Number two, the second reason why investing matters is that it's for financial security. is for financial security. Your job does not give you financial security. I know this is not the kind of thing that people tell you or that anybody has told you. And it also possibly makes you uncomfortable. But financial security your job does not give you financial security. And then come to think about it, it's not even like what it was in those olden days where, our grandparents came out from school and then they got a job and then they stayed on that job for 40 years and retired on that job and then they got their pensions. The world has changed. The world has changed significantly. The last time I heard about job security, was probably like in the 80s. In the 80s, you might still say in the 70s, in the 80s, you had job security. So there were people who got job with John Holt or with PZ or with, Shell in those days, but they got jobs in Shell in the 1970s. And that job, they had security in that job until they retired in the 1990s. But right now, in the world that we live in right now, there's nothing like job security. Because the company can wake up tomorrow and decide, no, we don't need you again. Or maybe some policy makes it very difficult. Some of those multinationals are leaving this country because the operating environment is no longer good for them. So what gives you financial security, therefore, is investing. All the financial troubles that you and I have today, is because you did not invest yesterday. And all the financial problems that you're going to have tomorrow is because you're not investing today. You really need to highlight that. All the financial problems that you have today is as a result of you're not investing yesterday. And then all the financial troubles warming up for you tomorrow are warming up because you're not investing today. So investing gives you financial security. It allows you to build a strong financial foundation for the future, like a really very strong one. Number 3, long-term growth. So when it comes to investing, time is your friend. Time is your friend. So somebody said that, I overheard someone say that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. And I agree. Compound interest works its magic over time, helping you, helping your money to grow like exponentially. Warren Buffett started investing when he was very young. I don't remember the exact age, so don't quote me. Maybe he was, he started selling newspapers or something like that, to make some little money at 8 years. But he started pretty much investing very early. But the guy did not become the wealthiest investor in the world until after his 65th birthday. And then by the time that his money had compounded for decades, then all of a sudden, after that 61st birthday, his wealth, just quadrupled, from nowhere because of compound interest. Okay, so long-term growth is important. If long-term growth is important for you and your family, then you have to think investing. Then is this number 3 or number 4 reason? Reaching your goals. So investing can help you to achieve your financial goals. There are many financial goals that salary cannot achieve for you that investing could. So I had a master plan, a blueprint for paying my children's school fees, but somehow it failed. But the principle was very powerful. It failed not because it should fail, It failed because the villagers interfered with it. So what I did was buy a couple of acres when the children were still in primary school. So I bought a couple of acres of land in a certain village. And then I planted palm because I found that a couple of palms, and I challenge you today. If you are yet to get married, or you plan to get married and then raise a family, and you plant 100 palm trees today, 100 palm trees, or you think big enough and then you plant 150 palm trees, the Malaysian species, it will fund your children's education comfortably. So if you invest today, for instance, you put that down today, because that's what I did, you know. But then the villagers went partition my land and then sold it. You know, vagabonds, you know, who don't do anything. They call themselves area boys, area youth or something. And so they interfered with that plan. But I guarantee you that if you start out now, you're in your 20s or your early 30s, and before you start your family, or you have a young family, and you find a very good plot of land in a safe location, you fence it or something, and you plant 100 to 200 palm trees, it's going to fund your children's education very, very easily by the time they grow and then they start going to those private schools very comfortably. So that's the power of investment. That's the power of investing. That's why investing matters. You just have to think investment. You know, God himself is an investor and he encourages us to invest because that is one way that you're going to secure your future. If you're not investing, you're just living hand to mouth. And then you don't know, something will happen tomorrow. Something could happen tomorrow. And, you know, you're not able to do that. So investing helps you to fulfill your financial goal. Okay, so let's get to the second session, the 4 common mistakes that beginner investors make and then how you can avoid them. I made these mistakes myself. So I really want you to pay attention to these 4 mistakes that investors, people who want to start investing make, because you could hear my talk tonight and then you get gingered up and you decide, okay, you want to do that, you know, you want to invest, and you're very likely to fall into one of these 4 mistakes, or sometimes even 4 of them. And if you make these mistakes, you're guaranteed to lose all your money. Mistake number 1, not having a clear goal or plan. Not having a clear goal or plan. So many investors, beginner investors, you know, they begin without knowing what they're investing in or what they're investing for. Okay, why? I beg your pardon. Without knowing why they are investing. So the why of your investing is very powerful because that's what ultimately keeps you going, even when it doesn't look like the investment is doing well, because as you're going to see later, investments don't usually go on a straight line. You don't just invest and then you put in 1 million naira today, for instance, and then it starts climbing. It starts climbing and then just keeps climbing for the next 10 years. No, it doesn't do that. Many times you put in that 1 million today, and then in a week or 2, that 1 million falls flat to 600,000. And then maybe the next year, it becomes 750. Next year, it does 600. The following year, all of a sudden, it does 3 million. I mean, that's the way investments go. So not knowing why you are investing is a big mistake, because if you know why you are investing, for instance, if I tell myself that I am investing for retirement, or I say I am investing to build my house in another 5 years, if I have that why, Then it helps me to plan everything else to determine what am I going to invest in, how much am I going to be investing like every month in order to be able to build my house and all that. So that is mistake number one. People do not have clear goals. They do not define why they are investing. So you need to define it clearly. It could be that you're investing for retirement. It could be that you're investing to build your own house or to buy. It could be that you're investing just to build your wealth. But you need to be very clear on why you are building, because why you're investing, because lack of a plan can make you do impulsive decisions. Like when you see that investment of 1 million come down to 600, you can start quarreling with the person. Mr. Obo, you told me to invest. I put in 1 million, 600. You know, then you can go and sell it. You just sell it off because you don't want to lose the whole thing. Only for the next year, that thing you sold 600,000 at a loss becomes 3 million. You know, it happens. If it has happened to you, put it in the chat. Okay. So, how do you avoid that? Create a simple investment plan, you know, based on your risk tolerance and based on your timeline. Okay. Maybe my timeline is 10 years. I want to retire in 10 years. So it's going to help me to make very good decision. Mistake number two, I made this mistake too as a beginner investor. The mistake number two is blindly following other people's advice. Just following other people's advice. And then many times it's related to mistake number one. You see, because people are investing for different reasons. The reason you're investing, I'm investing, might be very different from the reason that you're investing. So some piece of advice that's working for me might not work for you. So beginners often rely on tips from friends, from social media influencers. They say this is hot stock pick, you know, and then if you don't do your own research, you will lose that money. You will lose that money. There are so many influencers on social media who tell you, oh, buy this stock, pick this one. This is very good. This ETF is amazing. This one, buy foreign stocks. Or don't buy Nigerian stocks. Go for Asian stocks. US stocks are not doing well. You know, they keep on talking about that. Yeah. Yeah, so Abiola says it happened to, Abiono says it happened to me. Okay, so it happened to Abiono as well. So just listening to tips from social media influencers without doing your own due diligence is another very big mistake. So how do you avoid making that mistake as a beginner investor? Treat investing as your personal responsibility. Do your own due diligence. I've always told my clients and the people I'm mentoring during the Financial Fitness Challenge that what makes you money when it comes to investing, what makes you money is not the market, it is your knowledge of the market. Because a lot of people got into the stock market and got their fingers burnt. Not because people are not making billions every single month in the stock market, but because you didn't know what you were investing in. And some of the people who got their fingers burnt in the stock market they bought useless stocks. So there were, I mean, like if you're beginning, you want to look at some really very good stocks, high quality companies that you are investing in. You know, but usually these high quality companies, like in those days, Nestle, or like now you have Aradel, you have Dangote Cement, you have MTN, you have Zenith Bank, GT Bank, and all those stocks. And so you go to Aradel, you see the price is 600 naira. And then you say, oh no. Okay, then you see another company, another stock that is 5 kobo or 50 kobo. And so you look at your 20,000 naira. This one, if you do this 50 kobo stocks, is going to give you, is it 10,000 units or something, or 100,000 units. And then meanwhile, if you do Aradel, it will only give you like 20. And so you say, okay, I'll better buy the one that will give me 100,000 and then not the one that will give me 20. And then within 6 months, that company disappears. They just go out of business and then you lose that money. But Aradel, Dangote Cement is still there. So that's what happened to many people, because many people who got their fingers burnt invested in companies that were not good. They didn't have strong fundamentals economically. Their performance wasn't very good. And so those companies died and they lost their investment. And then their story is, stock market is a scam. Don't invest in stock market, you lose your money. No, that's your experience. You lost the money because you didn't know what you're doing. So the number one step is to invest in your knowledge. So listen to the influencers, listen to me, people like me, when we talk, but go back and do your due diligence. So use my advice, my recommendation, and all these other people's recommendation. Use it as a starting point, not a final decision. I use services like ProShare or Nairametrics. And I listen to also other influencers in the stock market. So I look at their recommendations. And then sometimes I see, like in ProShare, I subscribe to ProShare. So you might see 4 different stockbroking houses or 4 different fund managers. They recommend a particular company. They say, buy, 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 which is very rare. But sometimes you see this one we say buy, this one we say hold, this one we say sell, and then another one we say buy. So I study all those. I study, that's my starting point, because that's what they live to do. They do all this research, they follow the market every day, they scout the news. So I don't have that kind of, it's not like what I do full time. So I start with their own. So now instead of going to do all the 150 something companies in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, I narrow down to the ones that these people are recommending. Then I now take those companies and do my own due diligence. I look at their results, their performance. I look at their earnings per share. I look at all these other things that will help me make a decision. Should I actually invest in this or not? When they all line up, I buy. So I don't just buy because somebody said, oh, go and buy this. I use that as a starting point. Mistake number 3 that new investors make is that they try to time the market. Even some experienced investors still make that mistake today. You try to time the market. Warren Buffett himself, and all these other people. In fact, he will tell you that he's just lucky. Nobody has come up to today with a formula to time the market. So when you start, don't try to time the market, because all of us want to buy low and then sell high, okay? Which is really difficult, even for professionals. Even for professionals. Because sometimes you can miss out on very good opportunities by waiting for the perfect time to invest. So many times the timing is actually like a best guess. Like when I told my followers to buy Presco and UAC and Presco last year in November, and then December, Presco was going for about 450, 400 and something. And then after doing my own due diligence, I found these guys are coming up with some very powerful results. Again, they have also expanded in Ghana, and they are expanding their operations crazily in Nigeria. And then they have grown their revenue. Their performance had grown by 100 and something percent. When I put all those things together, I said, this looks like a very good. And then, of course, they're in a business that the product is, that you're talking about palm oil and similar products. Very, very high in demand, very good volume. I said, this is a good one. So some people got in at that time. I also got in 400 and something. And then Fresco had, within a month or two, the first week, second week in the year, Fresco started jumping. I think it's about 780 right now. And its year to date is about 80%. So you can imagine. So if you put in like 10 million in December, by now, that your 10 million is 18 million. That is how insane it is. So you don't focus on timing the market. Focus on time in the market, not timing the market. Focus on time in the market, and then you can use average cost, dollar cost averaging. So for instance, in GT Bank, I bought some GT Bank at 17. I bought some at 18. I bought some at 20 something. I think I bought some at 30 something. So I just, as money was coming in to invest, I was just buying. So that's what you call dollar cost averaging. So now my average cost is somewhere around 35 naira, but GT Bank is doing 60 something naira right now. So if I was waiting to time it, and when it was 18, for it to come down, and it went to 20, 21, 24, and I was still waiting, I would never be able to. So, but when I had the money to buy, I bought at 17, I bought at 18, I bought at 20 something, I bought at 30 or something like that. In fact, I think I had some before this time. I had bought at less than that, like 10 naira or something like that. So they all average out at about 30 something. So focus on time in the market. Just make sure you're investing in very high quality stock and that you're investing for the long time. Mistake number 4, overreacting to market volatility. Market volatility is like when, like I just explained, you put in 1 million and then all of a sudden you see that 1 million drop to 900. Then 900, you see it drop to, like I had recommended, which is why I don't recommend stocks often. And when I recommend, I say, please still go ahead and do your due diligence. So I remember recommending Aradel, and then somebody bought maybe at close to 600 naira, and then the thing fell up to like 515, and then he freaked out. He freaked out. So control your emotions. The market can give you high blood pressure. Control your emotions. If you buy a good company, just relax. There's volatility in the market. So beginners often panic and they sell when the market is going down. And then they lose so much money. You put in 1 million, then the market goes down. You see it at 900 today. Next day, you see it at 800. You see it at 700. Then you panic and sell and lose your 300,000 naira out of the 1 million. And then in another 4 months, you see that thing that was 700. All of a sudden, it will jump to 1.5 million. Then as you're talking, it will jump to 3 million. That's what happened to me. I bought Geregu. Geregu, November of 2023. I bought Geregu for about 300 naira at that time. By February, Geregu that was 300 naira became 1,150 naira. So can you imagine if I had bought Geregu maybe 500, and then the thing came down to 300, and I sold at 300, only for it 2 months later to become 1,150. So some people do that and they never forget themselves or forgive themselves. So how do you avoid that? Understand that market fluctuations are normal. They are normal and part of the investing process. You know, during the 2008 crisis, or in fact, during the COVID-19 crisis, the stock market did very bad. Some came, but in fact, somebody said, I think it was Presco. I don't remember. I think it was Presco that came down to as much as 10 naira. And, you know, and some people panicked and sold off their Presco. But this guy, this particular guy, bought 1 million of Presco at that time at about 10 naira each. Guys, look at 5 years later. Can you imagine? 1 million shares bought at about 10 million. Presco is 780 today times 1. So can you imagine how insane? You go from 10 million naira to 780 million in 5 years. Investing is insane. I don't know why you're not doing it. See, but this guy was willing to wait for 5 years. So it's a game of patience. So understand that the market fluctuations are normal and they are part of the investing process. Then stay focused on your long-term goals. So avoid emotional decisions. Hold yourself together. Okay? All right. So the final part of it is, okay, how do you start? What's your first step? How do you get started investing? So you're a beginner and now you say, all right, Obo, I really want to start investing. I think I have lost time. I'm in my 30s, I'm in 40s, and I don't even have investment. This is not looking good. I want to start. How do I start? Okay. The absolute first step is to open about investing in the stock market. So open a stockbroking account, a brokerage account. And then if you're joining from Africa, if you're joining from US, it's not a problem. You know, you have so many brokers, you know, licensed brokers, whatever country you are joining from, and you want to trade your own country's stock exchange, or you want to do, the Nigerian Stock Exchange is doing very, very well. Johannesburg, Nigerian, Egypt Stock Exchange, and then Kenya, Nairobi. These are doing very well. You can trade any of this. So the rules are the same in your country. Find a license, and I'm saying licensed in capital letters, licensed stockbrokers, because the stock exchanges are very heavily regulated. And so register with a licensed stockbroker. If you look at my book, which I'm going to put the link in the description on YouTube. In the description on YouTube, it gives you some lists and some contact of licensed stockbrokers. I'm also going to give you a link where you can tell if a stockbroker is licensed or not. So don't play with your money. Don't play with your money. And the other qualification, the other thing I needed to insist on is that whoever you are registering with, whichever stockbroker you are registering with, should be able to provide you access, direct access to the market. So you don't need to call them when you want to buy or sell. You just go online and manage your stockbroking account and manage your portfolio. You don't need them. You don't need to be asking them, what is GT Bank today? What is Nestle doing today? You don't need to ask because you have direct access. You don't need them. So first step for all of you beginners today, every one of us should have a stockbroking account, because the truth is, it's very inspiring. Once you get it, it inspires you, because sometimes it's quite difficult to get that stockbroking account, you know, and especially now that people are waking up to the world of investing. So everybody is hitting stockbrokers. So I want to open an account and all that. So, and they have requirements, things that you need to submit because of KYC requirements for them to give you an account. So you open a stockbroking account and then fund that account. Start small. You don't need a lot of money. Just start small so that you can be learning, okay? And then you gradually increase what you're doing. And of course, follow my page and follow. I have lots of information and insights and strategies on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel with the notification bell, please do so. Do so immediately after this. My YouTube channel is my name, the very name you are seeing on TikTok, on my TikTok profile, just the way it is. It's also on Facebook, Ogbo Awoke Ogbo. Just type that on YouTube. That's a unique name. There's no Ogbo Awoke Ogbo, another person. So my channel will come up. So subscribe and then follow the playlist on stock, investing in stock market and stocks. You see a playlist on investing in stocks. Follow that. You will learn a lot. You will be guided, You are going to have just going through those videos will give you up to 2 to 3 years head start. So like things you need to figure out on your own in 3 years, you will get it just watching those videos. Okay, so that's how you want to start. Okay, so open a brokerage account, start small, and then follow my page, and then join this this virtual is free. I do it every evening like this, and I'm going to do it for only 1,000 days, and it will stop. We do it every evening, 8 p.m. GMT +1, every evening on weekdays except Saturday and Sunday. So except weekends, we do it only on weekdays. And then if there's any reason it will not hold on any particular day, maybe because we are going through the financial fitness challenge, or I'm traveling and I'm in the plane or something, I will always let you know. And then if you miss any of them, you can always go back to YouTube, because all the replay, including this one, you will find it there in details, and then the resources. And then before I begin to take your questions and then your aha moments, I want to announce that the Financial Fitness Challenge Class 5 has started enrollment, has started enrolling today. The participation fee is 125,000 Naira, but we are doing early bird of 105,000 right now. So you can take advantage of the early bird. So all you want to do is send me a DM, send me a message, whether it is on TikTok or Facebook, or you're watching this on YouTube, just send me a message. I will also put the WhatsApp number in the description. You can also send the WhatsApp number, and then we'll give you the enrollment details. And then when you join, you are going to get the beginner's guide to the stock market. It's actually 10,000 Naira if you go to my site right now, but that's one of the bonuses you are going to get. And then a lot of things. So during the Financial Fitness Challenge, we focus on 3 main things, or 4 main things. One is helping you to assess your current financial situation, calculate your net worth, and then understand the mindset behind your net worth, why you are where you are today. Because if you don't know where you are, many of us don't even know our net worth. But your net worth will humble you, and it's a place to start, because if you don't know where you are, it's going to be difficult for you to plot where you are going. So that's the first thing, helping you to actually make sense of where you are, the truth about your financial situation. So your financial health. Before a doctor prescribes for you, she checks you. She does her diagnosis before prescription. So that's what we do to your finances. Second thing is that I have discovered that so many people do not play in the financial market. Most people are only in the labor market. So we help you to get to ease into the financial market. We make sure that you open a stockbroking account and start investing immediately while the challenge is on. You open your stockbroking account. We give you contacts to help you make that possible. The third thing is that making money, just helping you to go from working for money to making money work for you. Because a lot of us are hustling. If you hustle for 1, 2 years, it's understandable. But guys, you've been hustling for 5, 10 years, 15 years. You've been hustling really since you started working. It's all hustle, hand to mouth, hand to mouth. So, but during the Financial Fitness Challenge, we help you to create a system that will allow you to earn money, to manage it, and then to multiply it through investing. So you have that system. And then, of course, for those who also have a business or they want to start a business, we also give you some practical coaching on how you can grow your business, grow your customer base, grow your marketing and all that. So sign up, enroll today, send me a message immediately after this, and then you're going to get the payment details. Take advantage of the early bird right now. For those of you who are in the US and then you would like to pay in dollars, I will also send you the link that will allow you to do that. All right. So what are your aha moments? What are the eye-opening moments for you today? As usual, so everybody please type it. Type it on TikTok, type it on YouTube. I'm going to read all of that. Type it on Facebook. And then if you have questions, I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to answer your questions and then to read your aha moments. Okay. Yeah, somebody mentioned Bamboo. Yes. So Bamboo is also a good platform to invest. The problem I have with Bamboo is that their charges. So if I use Bamboo, if I'm using Bamboo to trade foreign stocks, that's okay. That's okay. Because the licensed stockbrokers in Nigeria, for instance, don't have access to the American stock exchange, NASDAQ and all that, or European stocks or Asian stocks. But through Bamboo, you can buy Amazon, you can buy Microsoft, you can buy Tesla, you can buy any of those companies that you want to buy. So Bamboo is one. And if you go to my YouTube, you will see how to use Bamboo to buy stocks. There's a video, a couple of videos on Bamboo, how to use it to buy stocks. So no excuse. Okay, so let me look at a couple of questions on TikTok. And those of you on TikTok, if you want to come on video, just request and I'll bring you so we can hear your voice. Now, Oladayo said, can I trust Bamboo app for US and Nigerian stocks? Yes, you can. You can trust the Bamboo app. The only thing is if you use it to buy Nigerian stocks, you're likely to pay twice. So I just use the stockbroker. Okay. The mature investor says, make sure you learn to do personal research and you will do great. Very good. Very good. Imanita Jones says, I'm finding it difficult to invest into the brokers in Nigeria. Can you tell us why you're finding it very difficult to invest? We don't know why. Tell us, and if you want to come on video, we can hear your voice. Everly says, I have 7.5 million saved, but it is just sitting in my piggy vest. I want to invest. Okay. Saving money, just saving money, putting money in savings for the sake of saving it is not a very good wealth growth strategy. Yeah, because that money is losing value there. So you can actually start, if you put it in exchange traded fund, ETF, or a mutual fund, it's a low risk. They are lower risk than investing in individual stocks. So you can actually put that money there in a mutual fund, Stanbic IBTC, for instance, and there are a couple of them. Fidelity has one, but I think Stanbic has performed well. over the years. I had a couple of I invested in this mutual fund in the early 2000s, about 2004, 2005. And their returns have been very good. So you can put that money there, or you can invest it in bonds. Okay, these are low risk investments. You can put it like the federal government savings bond is really very good. And it's open every first week of every month. Last month's own was fantastically subscribed, like 1 point something trillion naira. And so they give you, you can leave it with them for 2 years or 3 years, and then it's generally around 17, 18%. So instead of putting that money in PiggyVest, except it's giving you the same returns as the bond, 17, 18%, then I think you should move it, put it at least in bond. And then while it's in the bond, you can be learning. You invest in bond, because what happens is that if you put in that 7.5 million in the bond at 18%, they will pay you 18% every year, but they will pay it 4 times, like every 3 months. So if 18% of 7 million is somewhere around 7.5, if it's somewhere around 1.5 million, let's say 1.6 million to make it easy, then they are going to pay you 1.6 divided by 400,000 every 3 months on that your 7.5 million. Every 3 months, they will pay you like 400,000 naira. Isn't it amazing? 20% of 7 is 1.4 million. Just call it 1.2. So every quarter, every 3 months, they will pay you 300,000 for 2 years. So you'll be paid 8 times. And so that your 7.4 million will become, at the end of it, you would have earned about 2 point something million, 2.4 million on it in 2 years. And at the end of 2 years, they give you back your 7.5 million. So I think it's very smart. Investing is very smart. Instead of just putting it there in savings account and doing nothing with it. So Evely, I hope that helps. Let me see, is there any other question on TikTok? All right, let's see. Okay. Can I invest in the US through Trove? Yeah, Trove is another one I hear. I don't use it particularly, but most of the interface looks like the same thing that that Bamboo uses. So I suppose you can. Just a couple of people use Trove. I even discovered that from some of the fintech banks like Kuda, you can invest in American stocks from Kuda. They basically use that same interface, but I wouldn't use them to buy Nigerian stocks because of the double charges. The charges are crazy. When you buy, even when you buy the US stock, when you buy, they will charge you. I think it's a minimum of like $1 or something. So if you decide to buy $2 of if you decide to buy $2, for instance, of Tesla, you will buy the $2. If you say in Bamboo, all right, so I want to buy $2 of Tesla. So I'm just giving an example because I use that as a demo. At the end, they will only sell $1 of Tesla, and then they charge you that $1. So the charges are really crazy. And then when you're investing, you really need to think about the charges. Okay, Celestine Okoye, I think I just explained what I mean by Bamboo. You're going to be charged because when you buy directly from the AfriInvest is a Nigerian. AfriInvest is a Nigerian. It's run by a Nigerian stockbroker. So I'm talking about Bamboo. Bamboo, which is I think run by the fintechs. AfriInvest, I believe, is run by a Nigerian, is an app for a licensed Nigerian broker. So you only pay. There are things you pay when you buy stocks. You pay SEC fee, you pay commission, you pay a couple of things, about 4 things. So those are normal. So let's say you buy stocks for 100,000 naira. So you may pay somewhere around maybe 3,000, 4,000, all those things. So you pay the normal fees. But if you are using Bamboo, you also pay Bamboo. So there's a layer of fees. You also pay for using their platform to buy. So you are paying that 3,000 plus possibly another 3,000 from Bamboo. I hope that helps. So for me, it doesn't make sense when I can directly use a Nigerian stockbroker to buy Nigerian stocks. Why should I use the Bamboo FinTech? All right, okay. I think that's the last question I can see here. Apubi Gospel says, what do you think of still buying Arado at this time, considering your advice on not having the market? How does the timing reconcile with stock already to speak? For me, I'm still buying Arado because I bought at very high price. So it went down to 515 from 560 something. I bought at 560 something. It came down a little bit. I bought at 550. It came down. I bought at 530. It came down. I bought at, so I'm just buying. I bought at 515. I think it's going up again. So always when you think long term, you're better off than just thinking about the market price. So think long term. Think about the company. There's a reason that people invest. There's a reason that we are investing in Arado. We are not investing in Arado because of price. We're investing in Arado because of the prospects of the company. So you look at the company, not the stock price. And we are buying, whether if they come up and say 600, I think if it's 600, 700 and I have money, I'll still buy because I'm not looking at the price. I'm looking at the value of the company and then what it's going to. All right, let me see. Let me look at Zoom and see if there are questions on Zoom. Some Toshiku says, are there risks involved in buying FGN bonds? So typically bonds are low risk. They are considered very, very low, very, very low risk. So I don't know about one that I can think about right now, because what you're doing is that you're lending money to the government, and the government can pay. So I'm thinking about a case of a government becoming insolvent, but I can't think about that. I'm not sure, there'll probably be cases in history. We can research that. But they are very low risk investment, and then they don't fail, they don't fluctuate. It's a bond. So if they have said that they are going to pay 18% on your money, they will pay. They don't, it just goes direct to your bank account on that particular every quarter. And then at the end of it, they credit you back. If it had failed or you had any chance of, they wouldn't have been doing it, because you would have heard people speak out and say, oh, Nigerian something. No, but I think it is safe if you want to do that. All right, so this is where we are going to draw the curtain for tonight. We'll be here same time tomorrow. So whatever happens, keep showing up because you have no idea what's coming your way next. And I'll see you same time tomorrow evening.